Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Military Mondays. If you and I don't know each other, I would love to get to know you. Please reach out, comment below, or reach out in Messenger, and let's have a conversation, especially if you are a veteran, currently serving military member, or a spouse that has their own business, because I love highlighting people that have served on all sides of the Air Force. And we're going to talk about that today because I truly believe spouses also serve. So if that's you, let's have a conversation. And I am super excited this morning to have a very dear friend of mine. I met Wendy probably maybe not quite a year ago, 6 months, 8 months ago, something like that, through networking. And if you've been watching my Military Mondays, you know that there is a common thread, and that is networking. We network in the service, and if you take those skills and apply them when you get out, you can be super successful in business. And that's what Wendy has done. Wendy is a retired Air Force major, just like myself. And her and I's story are very similar. So welcome to the show this morning, Wendy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about that crazy twists and turns of your military career, sort of like mine. So when you were on active duty, you served how long?
8 years active duty and then 12 years reserve.
Awesome. And so on active duty, you did something totally different than you're doing today. So let's talk about that. What was it that you did while you were in the service?
My first assignment was in Cheyenne, Wyoming at FE Warren, and I did missiles for 3 years. And then that I thought about getting out because missiles wasn't that great. Yeah, or in a hole for 24 hours at a time. But after that assignment, I did stay in, and I went to Vandenberg for launch. So I did space lift out of Vandenberg for 3 years. And then I met my husband. We got married. Then we moved to Colorado, and I was pregnant with twins. So we did GPS for like a year. But after the twins are born, I got out and did the Air Force Reserve as an IMA. So I did kind of what you call a weekend warrior. So I did shifts at Peterson. And I stayed there for 12 years, and that's where I stayed until I retired.
And for those that are watching that do not know the lingo of the military, Wendy and I are very familiar with the IMA, but IMA is Individual Mobilization Augmentee. And she talked about weekend warriors. I actually call the IMAs weekday warriors because we work during the week instead of on the weekend like a traditional reservist normally. So just in case you're watching and you're like, you always use all those acronyms and I don't know what they are. That's what it is. And so let's talk about that, because you got married. So you were also a spouse and a reservist. And you had two little ones, twins, and what that was like trying to be a wife and a mom of twins and do the reserves.
Oh, it was hard. So one of the twins is a severely disabled, which is one of the major reasons I got out of active duty, because her care was taking way too much out of. So my career became mostly caretaker, but I still wanted to keep in touch with the military. So how hard was it? It was, you can hardly remember because the sleep deprivation, it was just a mess. And then I had, after 3 years of having the twins, I had my youngest son, who is now 13, which added a bonus. I don't know, they're all three so different. I know when you have children, every single kid is different. And being a mom and a career person is very hard. So I respect everyone who does that.
I was going to say, you're not the only one though. There's many, and I'm going to relate this to some of just the moms that are out there, the spouses that are out there, because you had a career on top of it. You were doing reserves, but there's many families out there where the spouse, the wife, is taking care of the kids, and there may be a disabled or handicapped person in the house, and trying to move every few years. And it's really hard, as you learned, to do that and have a job. So
Yes.
you got out, and now you're doing something completely different than you did. You're not doing space, you're not doing missiles. But
No.
from what I understand, this actually started while you were in the service. You got your certificate. So let's talk about what you're doing today and how you're helping everybody, but especially those military members that got out, whether it be retired or just off of active duty, and said, I'm done. I don't have to do fitness anymore.
Yes, that happens a lot. I actually have a few clients who don't take care of themselves and just view retirement as a time to stop moving and sit back and relax. And that's probably the worst thing you can do as an older adult. I mean, not that when you retire from the military, we're in our mid 40s maybe, which is not old at all.
Right.
And that's the time that you have to keep that habit that the Air Force I was Air Force, so military instilled in you. You have to keep that going, because the older we get, the more able we are to be injured. If we are to just stay static, your body adapts to stillness, becomes large, and then you have health problems. And yeah, so I try to continue that fitness habit or establish one. You don't have to be in the military to have that same attitude. Like if you have a career and then you decide to do something different, and you don't have to look good, you have to be at home. Even COVID made people stay at home a lot more, stop moving, but that's the worst thing you can do. So I try to get people to stay exercising, and try to make it fun. The military probably wasn't much fun. The PT that you had to do there, yeah, it's all, you have to run, you have to do push-ups and sit-ups, but we can choose. When you're out of the military, you can choose what to do. And I like to be creative and find things that people enjoy doing to keep it rolling in their older age, to prevent injury. You know, as we get older, hip falls or hip breaks when you fall, ankle twists. Yeah, you can all prevent that. Prevention is the best cure.
And I love that you said keep it rolling, because I happen to know that one of the things you do that's fun, especially with the teens or the young adults, and we've had some fun in our B&I group, is tire flipping, and the big huge tires, and having fun, just different ways. Like you said, in the military, it's not necessarily fun to do fitness. And you and I were talking before we went live, and that most of us, when we get to retirement or we're getting ready to get out of the service, I'm sure other people can relate to this. You're like, oh, yeah, I don't have to do PT anymore. And, you know, if you retired, I knew many people that as you're getting close to retirement, you're close to that BMI, and you're close to like the cutoff that you're overweight or your BMI is too high, and you're struggling at the end with the fitness, and then you're like, yay, I don't have to do it anymore. And we were joking, it's like, you know, you were here and then all of a sudden you stop moving. But there's ways to do it and have fun. And I listen to Wendy's commercial every week, and she just has a wealth of knowledge, especially on helping families and getting kids to move. That maybe we live in an age right now that kids like to sit in front of the computer or sit in front of the TV, or they game a lot. And we need to get them out. I'm sure you remember growing up. we were outside running around, playing till dark. And you
Yeah.
just don't see that as much anymore. So talk about that and how we can instill fit for life early on with our kids.
Yeah, so it's funny that I did not target kids, but I actually have a child client that's working so great. He's getting much stronger. Yeah, it's important. And my son is also a gamer. And oh God, I can't stand that he loves to sit, and he would just sit there for hours and hours and hours if I let him. So he earns more computer time by going out, and I have a pretty nice setup in my garage, by doing some exercises, or he'll go outside. If he gets 7,000 steps, then he earns an extra hour, maybe because it takes a while, 10,000 steps is a lot
It
in a
is.
day. So yeah, so I try to help families too. So the kids look at their parents, and parents are sitting down scrolling in their stuff. And so they think it's okay to just sit and do games, and just like their parents are doing. So I like to have families come out, and I'm actually thinking about trying to going to a park and having kids, especially with disabilities, because a lot of parents with not just normal, I mean, I know parents with just normal kids don't like to take care of themselves, but parents of special needs kids don't feel like they can go out. There's nowhere to put their special needs kids in the daycare. They're not normal, so they don't want to. So I like to have all the families together, and we try to incorporate the kids and make sure that everyone gets exercise. And I try to show caretakers, it's not just moms, sometimes dads are the caretakers too, that they can take care of themselves, that they can move and get out and exercise and have fun with their children. And there's a place for games. Of course, it's so in our society now, you're going to have to be on a screen, but there has to be a place that we are exercising and outside and enjoying our humanity. We're gonna start being robots, and we're gonna be like this. We need to open up, get in touch with planet Earth.
Yeah, I love it. That sounds like a fun day, like family camps or something. Family playtime.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. And I knew you had at least one kid client. That's why I was saying kids. I didn't realize you only had one.
Yeah,
So
just one
kids,
right now.
kids, I know that Wendy has a passion for kids and helping kids. So that really surprises me that she only has one. So if you have kids and you live in the Colorado Springs, Schriever Air Force Base, down Fort Carson, or up north, even, Parker, and that, she actually has a unique model. So let's talk about that, Wendy, because most people are like, yeah, but I don't want to go to the gym, and I don't want to drive all the way there to work out. You actually will go to them. So let's talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, I have a few clients that I can have some equipment, and I don't want people to think we have to have equipment either. I will go to your house or your office or a park or wherever you want to, the client wants to work out or exercise or feels comfortable. And we will have an hour session there. I even have a mat. I have my travel mat, and we have warm up stuff, and yeah, so I like to bring it to wherever the person is comfortable. Yeah, if you're not comfortable going to a gym, and there are a lot of people who are not comfortable going to a gym, people feel like they have to get in shape to go to a gym. And that just doesn't make sense to me. You go to a gym to get in shape, and it shouldn't be embarrassing, or people 90% of the time are not looking at other people to shame them, but you just feel it. And I can feel that too. I've had that kind of thing. So I will eliminate that excuse from the brain, and I will go to your house, and I will help you get in shape to go to the gym. or we can meet at any place outside if you like outside, even if it's cold. I don't like to go under freezing. So about 40 degrees is my cutoff. And that's probably most people's cutoff too. But yeah, there's still things that we can do in a park in 40, 50 degree weather, 70, 80 degree weather. Yeah, so I like to do that.
Awesome. Any words of advice you would have before we wrap up for spouses whether they be moms or dads, especially those with special needs, but just some words of advice for that spouse that's kind of trailing along behind the military member and maybe moving all over the place. What words of advice would you have for them?
Oh, yeah. So you can lose yourself fast when you're focusing on that special needs child and trying to take care of your life and your husband or wife or whoever's in the military. And I've been there. I have literally been a puddle of despair on the floor. I've sobbed. And I didn't even have to move. We stayed here because of her, and we were older in our careers, so we could do that. But moving, I can feel the pain, and I just want people to not lose themselves. Don't forget that taking care of yourself is not a luxury. It's not something that rich people do. It's something that you have to do to take care of your children. Or if you lose yourself, who do they have to depend on? So you've got to focus on your health and fitness. As that child, my child is not mobile. You have to focus on transfers. You have to take care of your back as they get heavier. Fitness not only helps you physically with that kind of stuff, but it helps you mentally. It's a therapy. It helps you give value to yourself, as you still are valuable as a human being. And you're not alone. As I thought I was alone, I had a severely disabled, no, you're not alone. Find other people, find someone, because they're out there. And you, as when you're a hermit and you're thinking about, I can't go out anymore, I have a special needs kid, you've got to get that mindset out of your head, and you're still a valuable human being, and go find support, because it is out there. And awesome. Is that good?
Yes, that's awesome. I love it.
Okay.
I was going to say, and I'm going to put Wendy on the spot, but I know her heart is that if you are watching this, or somebody that is a spouse and is taking care of a disabled child, or a child with special needs, and that they're struggling, please reach out to Wendy. I'm sure she'll have a conversation with you over the phone or via Zoom, because I just know her heart. She's like, I got chills right now, because I know her heart for helping families and helping people through that, because she's been there and done that, and she just wants to be there for other people. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you being in my networking group. And if you're watching this and you've gotten value out of it, or maybe you haven't, would you do me a favor and hit the like and share anyways? Because somebody needs to hear this message. Somebody needs to hear from Wendy today. Even if they don't live in the Colorado Springs area, there's lots of things Wendy can do to help people even from a distance. So please reach out and connect with Wendy. Any last parting words, something that we missed that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, no, I'm pretty good.
Good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you every week. And I look forward to watching those family programs come into existence or grow, because that sounds like a really fun, cool idea. So with that, thank you all for being here on Military Mondays. Again, like and share this video so that we can get the word out. And if you are a military member currently serving that has their own business, retired, or a spouse, please reach out to me. I would love to potentially have you on my Military Mondays and interview you. You just go to Military Mondays with an S, militarymondays.info. So militarymondays.info, you can see past episodes like this one, and other amazing entrepreneurs. And it's where you can apply to be on the show. So with that, have an awesome week, everyone. And I will see you next week right here, same time, same place, Military Mondays. Have a great week, everyone.